Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to CBD Talk Podcast. Tonight is episode number 62, and we have a great episode tonight. Yay! It's going to be debunking CBD myths, and there's a lot of CBD myths out there, so this is going to be a good one. I did want to mention that this podcast is brought to you from our friends. Uh, where's my thing? From Simple Optimum Health, Tina Williams and Debbie McKinney, where making wellness easy is the goal. And okay, so I've talked about Tina before. They're great peeps. They're great peeps, and their honey sticks are amazing, and they've got some great tea blends too. But they were kind enough today to do a little special something for our listeners. So if you go to what's the website here? simplyhemphealth.com/Dawn, because that's my name, and put in the code DEBUNK, DEBUNK. You are going to get a holiday sampler bundle, including their 1,000 milligram natural organic lemon oil, honey sticks, and a bonus tea taster with free shipping. So that sounds like a fun Christmas present, but I'll have all the notes on that in the show notes, and also on the YouTube site. So that could be a fun thing. I think I'm gonna have to get one of those. I know my mother would love that for Christmas. Hey, just putting a quick note in here to let you know that, you know what? This isn't free. There is a cost. I didn't know what the cost was, so I didn't say what the cost is. But you get a discount on it and you get free shipping. So that's what the special is. So tonight we have Dr. Amber Krosgrud, and she is a naturopathic doctor. And we are fortunate to have Dr. Amber with us, who has recently just gotten back from a conference in Hawaii. And so I know she has a lot of great information that she got from there. But one of the great things with Dr. Amber is that she actually has a telemedicine practice, and she consults with people about using CBD, and how it can help them. And so we'll make sure that we have in the show notes contact information, um, because I think this would be a great thing for some of you, because she works with a lot of people with chronic pain, and we all know how great CBD can be when it comes to that. Chronic pain, anxiety, ADHD, that's a huge one. A lot of moms listen to this program. That can help a lot. Digestive orders, hormone imbalances for those of us in menopause. And yay, menopause. And I'm myriad of other things as well. But so, Dr. Amber, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved with using CBD?
Of course, yeah. So I'm a naturopathic doctor in Encinitas, California, just north of San Diego, and I connected with a serial entrepreneur who also lives in Encinitas, who had this vision to create a company for CBD and had a big heart for a give back program to veterans. So we partner with this company called the Honor Foundation. Is actually a nonprofit, and our vision for building a CBD company is to provide medicine to these veterans who, a lot of them have chronic pain and anxiety, PTSD after leaving the service. So, really big give back, and super excited and honored to be on your podcast, Don, and to be in a space that is expanding. CBD is only growing. There's more education pieces that I feel like I get to be a part of as a doctor in the medical world that bringing light to the uses for CBD, the therapeutic dosing, and specifically working with patients, consulting them with their specific conditions for how they can use CBD to improve whatever may be going on. So it's an exciting time to be a part of the CBD world for sure.
It really is, and we all know it's just going to continue to grow. And what's so great is as more doctors like yourself really start committing to helping people with CBD by using CBD, you're getting that many more uh, experiences to be able to uh, help other people with. I mean, you're finding more ways to see how it works and individuals, and it's just if you look back 5 years ago, when we were just starting with really, a lot of us were just starting to find out about CBD, and there were a handful of people ahead of the curve, 10 years ago, but really the groundswell started, and it's the anecdotal stuff that helped to create dosing and helped to create the the studies that people are doing now, like, oh, well, so many people were finding relief this way, and it's just every little step just brings us closer and closer to helping more and more people, and it's really special, and what a great time for you to be a doctor and to be able to help people with this.
Yes. Yeah, it's only the space is only growing, and I feel like there's a lack of even training for doctors
Oh yeah.
around this, and the legal landscape is also going to shift in terms of the scope of practitioners of all kinds, and how it's discussed or not currently in medical schools. So there's a lot of change and a lot of individuality to dosing and using CBD with each patient. It's very specific.
Well, with each patient, with each symptom, it's just really sorry guys, I'm a little off today because I've got a bad cold, and my brain isn't as active as it normally is, but yeah, I'm sure that if someone had a cold and compared to what they would normally take, they'd probably take a different amount. So everything makes a difference. But excuse me. Um, so like I said, we're talking about debunking CBD myths. And I want to jump right in with the one that we try all the time to make sure that people get right, and that would be, can CBD get you high?
Can CBD get you high? No. So this is one of the big misconceptions because CBD products are actually made from cannabis. Sometimes people will get the wrong idea that they can have the same kind of psychoactive effects, and that's just simply not true. So CBD itself is non-intoxicating, non-psychoactive, and therefore won't cause a high, no matter how much is consumed of the CBD. And that's one of the benefits for athletes too when they want to use cannabinoids, but they don't want to have any psychoactive effects. And it's also illegal, prohibited for them to have marijuana most of the time by WADA guidelines. So if you get a full spectrum CBD oil, they contain trace levels of THC, as I'm sure a lot of your listeners know. So it has to be less than 0.03, but that's not even enough to create any sort of high. So the amount of THC in a hemp is more than 30 times less than the least potent marijuana strain. And that's not even close to the amount that you would need to stimulate any type of psychoactive or any type of high.
Yeah, and I wanted to bring up so you mentioned full spectrum, which is, we talked about full spectrum having other cannabinoids in it, and so I think I may have brought this up on another episode as well. But so one of the things that some terms that have been floating around is full spectrum and broad spectrum. And so what is your take on the difference between full spectrum and broad spectrum? Since there's not really an official, like, this is the official language of cannabinoids. So what is your take on that?
Just like multiple different types. So we know there's 113 types of cannabinoids. And we don't even know like all of the mechanisms behind them binding. But we know that full spectrum has multiple kinds of like cannabinoids in it. I haven't heard a lot in terms of the actual differentiation between broad and full, um, in terms of like therapeutic effect. Maybe you know a little bit more about
I
that.
think it's just a marketing term that's being thrown around.
Yeah.
And I think that what they're trying to use broad spectrum as is full spectrum minus THC.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think they're saying that full spectrum could have some THC in it, like, even just the 0.3%. But broad spectrum is so, yeah, and that's the thing, is that you've got some people in the industry use saying it, and so now we have to try to figure out, well, what are they trying to, let's translate it.
Yeah, it's like looking at products in a supermarket and organic versus natural versus pasture raised versus all,
Thank
it's getting
you.
the, so it's a good question.
That is a great way to explain that. Yeah, they're terms that don't have official meaning, but they're trying to express something there. Okay, so let's go to another one. Is CBD from cannabis better than CBD from hemp?
So this is one of the most common myths. CBD is CBD no matter where it originates.
Because
So
CBD is a molecule.
yes, because CBD is a molecule. And so whether it's from marijuana or from hemp, once the CBD is absorbed, it will stimulate the ECS, the endocannabinoid system, and then it will have, the function of, I mean, it has many functions, but it's similar to like the example that I like to give is lemons and oranges. They are both citrus plants. They're both in the citrus family, and they both have vitamin C. And so your body is going to use vitamin C from a lemon or an orange the same way. It's still vitamin C, similar to if you are getting CBD from marijuana or hemp or something else. It's going to be utilized in a similar way. It's going to hit the same receptors, same idea.
So the difference would be if you were going for a full spectrum product, then you really would not be getting a full spectrum product from hemp.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Because it's not going to have the other cannabinoids.
Yes.
So, but if you're talking about CBD, like if you're doing an isolate, then CBD is CBD.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's a good one. Guys, remember that. Well, we actually had um, George from Citrus CBD, and they get their CBD from a lichen, and it's and it was I think it was 3 episodes ago, and I had tried their CBD at the CBD West Expo in Anaheim in September, and it was awesome. And it's more expensive though because it's harder to process. But for places that are for either countries or some really, all right, I'm gonna be mean here, back-assward states, they're like, then it's like, hey, it doesn't have anything to do with even hemp for that matter. It's completely, then like you said, CBD, CBD. Okay, so we talked about the fact that CBD cannot get you high. Does that mean that CBD has no effect on the brain?
No. So CBD doesn't have necessarily psychoactive effects, but we do know that it impacts the serotonin system in the brain. So they did a study in 2016, and they gave a group of mice a chemical that is similar to CBD but not CBD, so it mimics the molecule. And they found that it leads to antidepressive effects, which is kind of what you can expect from having cannabinoids that are calming. So they a part of the study, they blocked the serotonin receptors, and then they found that that effect was no longer noticeable. So what I pulled away from that study is that we know that the cannabinoid and the serotonergic system, so serotonin, the way that serotonin is processed in the body, are actually linked. Serotonin is linked to mood. Um, Antidepressant drugs are working on serotonin, SSRIs. They're called SSRIs because of serotonin. So we do know that even though CBD is not psychoactive and it doesn't have the same effects of creating a high like THC would, it does impact mood. Um, and then they also had another study that showed that endocannabinoid levels in the body actually made antidepressants more effective.
Wow.
This is also an interesting piece in terms of future ramifications for treating depression
Mm-hmm.
and using CBD for the future of antidepressants, and how does that interact if you're taking an antidepressant or if you're using that in place of. That's still kind of being researched.
Yeah, because we don't talk a lot about the interactions because we don't know a lot about the interactions. We know some here and there, but it it does affect certain things, and it's nice to know that if it makes it more effective, then maybe you don't have to take as much. So, or even take any at all, depending on what it is. Um, I also heard that there's some that if you're on blood thinners, that it makes blood thinners work a lot better too. So you got to be careful, and so if you start taking CBD and you're on a blood thinner, make sure you're getting regular, if not more than regular, um, tests to check, your coagulant level or whatever it is, so that you
The INR, which is just a
think,
measure of blood clotting, yeah, for when you're on warfarin or a blood thinner.
yeah, yeah, we don't want to, no problems there. So, all right.
Yeah.
Um, here's another one. A lot of people don't understand the whole biphasic properties of
Mm.
CBD. So, and I love this because a lot of times you think, oh, more, 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 more. Um, but we're going to talk about higher servings of CBD. Taking more always a better thing.
Not always a better thing. Yeah, sometimes higher doses are not actually better. Some individuals, and this is why it's very individual to find a dose and be working with a practitioner who can tailor a dose, a therapeutic dose based on your condition or whatever is going on. But um, while some find greater benefit with higher levels of CBD for anxiety, some people actually feel overstimulated and they have um, more difficulty falling asleep and things like this with higher levels. So, not everybody responds the same way to the same dose,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting. And also, makes it more difficult to give standardized recommendations on a bottle as a practitioner to patients. Um, so we know that CBD is safe for everyone, but it's just there's not like a one size fits all for everyone to take 20 milligrams a day, anything like
Hmm.
that.
Yeah, and I've heard it referred to kind of like as a bell curve.
Yeah.
Like there's that sweet spot.
Mhm.
And so and that's why people really, it's great to work with the practitioner, because we don't always, I think people have been trained to just do what they're told when it comes to medicine, and we don't listen to our bodies sometimes. um, but if you're working with someone, they can help you, uh, with writing down what you're taking. They can help track it for you and help you find that spot, um, to make sure you're optimizing it, because you might not, someone, and it doesn't necessarily have to do with body size either, but someone really, and especially if they're sick, if they have a chronic illness, they may need 100 milligrams of CBD a day. You may need 25, and uh,
Right.
and it's why it's really good to have people to who are knowledgeable to go to. And so let's just jump right to, it's easy to dose CBD for yourself or your specific condition. Like everyone with MS should take this amount. Everyone who's 150 pounds and 5'8" should take this amount.
Yes, it's not necessarily based on weight. Sometimes that's a good place to start, but generally you're going to be tracking symptoms and um, modulating your dose based on how you feel. There's some experimentation involved if you've never done CBD. So and it also varies the severity of what you're dealing with. So a, one of the common uses is anxiety. We use CBD for anxiety, but for a child with Asperger's, I'm working with a mother and a child right now, and they tend to have OCD, extreme social anxiety with Asperger's. Um, we're going to use a different dose than we'd use for someone who has mild anxiety a couple times a week in the middle of their workday. So it's variable based on the severity, and then depending on, so there's a lot of studies that have been done. Some of them show that higher doses, you need like a pretty high dose for therapeutic effect. But then some people feel overstimulated at those doses. So depends on how the individual um, responds, and it depends on the severity of the condition. So I know that's the answer that nobody wants to hear. It depends, but there are general guidelines, and those can be kind of hashed out when you work with a practitioner. This is what has been used in studies for this condition, for the severity. This makes sense. Start you at this dose, and then we kind of play it by ear from there.
Yeah, and uh, you really do have to listen to your body. We're so trained with pharmaceuticals that, by body weight and blah blah blah. Doctor says take this, this is what you take. And if you really think about it, maybe you should be listening to your body when you're taking pharmaceuticals also. Um, but yeah, if you let your body talk to you, you can help yourself a long way and save yourself a lot of problems. But yeah, there isn't, like, Dr. Amber said, there are places to start, but there's not just a flat rule book.
Yeah.
It's just not, it's not that way.
No.
Um,
Yep.
how about, CBD is only legal with a doctor's recommendation?
So this is also not true. It's a myth because federally CBD is legal. You don't need a doctor's prescription or recommendation if it's hemp derived CBD, and that's the distinction. So when we derive it from hemp, um, it's a different plant. The plant is grown to have higher concentration of CBD versus the marijuana plant, which is grown to have higher concentrations of THC. So um, the and it's easy to be confused. A lot of people don't know about, really, is CBD legal, or do I need a doctor's recommendation? Because the legal landscape is changing pretty rapidly. There's the Farm Bill that was passed several years ago, and then there's another one that's also um, in play. And so, yeah, you do not need a doctor's recommendation. You can get CBD from online retailers. Thrive Market is a really big kind of natural online food store that I love, and they have CBD. I imagine that many of the health food sector is going to bring in CBD, especially as the legal landscape changes. That's going to be a massive market for
Hmm.
CBD products in the future, in the next 5 years.
And one of the things I want to mention, because there are going to be a lot of places bringing CBD, even more places, and we'll get to that at the end also. But sometimes we think that, or there are people that have tried CBD and didn't work for them. It's like, okay, CBD doesn't work for everybody, for everything, and that's true.
Yeah.
However, it's a really good chance that what you bought may not be what you thought it was, first of all. There's another thing as well, is that you may have bought a 30 milliliter bottle with 100 milligrams of CBD in it, and you were taking 3 drops at a time, which,
Not enough blood.
unless you're 5, it's like or my cat. If you're my cat, that'll work. But no. So if you tried it and it didn't work and you want to try it again, I recommend working with a practitioner, because they can help you get to the dose where you need to be. And there are some people where you'll be able to do it on your own, and that's great. Not everyone needs the guidance. There's a lot of people who've done a lot of research and have spoken with a lot of people and gone to conferences and stuff, and that's great. But uh, there are professionals there to help you, and for God's sakes, don't not use it because you tried it once and you have no idea if you got anywhere close to where you need to be. I have a friend that's tried it, and when I found out what he took, I was like, there's no way. There's no way that could help you.
And where it becomes even more helpful to work with a practitioner is when you have increased complexity. So you have multiple diagnoses, multiple conditions,
And you're on prescriptions.
and you're on prescription medication.
If you're on prescription medication, oh gosh, please talk to someone. That's some dangerous stuff right there.
Safety matter.
Yeah. But and just because you spent $100 on something, that doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah, that doesn't mean it's have a therapeutic effect or made. Yeah. So
It really doesn't. So if it didn't work, there may be a really good reason why it didn't work. So,
right. Yep.
so okay. And that, so there's another myth that we debunked right there, was if I paid a lot of money, it must be good.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Not really. There's a lot of things to look at when you buy a CBD product, and maybe we'll touch on that too.
Oh yeah, we will. We definitely will. But right now, let's do another one that people really need to understand, and that is CBD is addictive.
Is CBD addictive?
CBD is, I can get addicted to CBD like I can get addicted to opioids or heroin.
Yeah.
or cocaine, or pick your
Any
drug. Yeah.
Yeah, so the answer to that is no. And it was actually the World Health Organization that concluded that, so it's pretty trustable. So they had done a study. It was a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial, which is like the highest standard of research, and they found that um, a single dose of cannabinoids has been shown to have no abuse potential in all of the participants in their study. So, like it showed that it passed the test for addictiveness or the potential for abuse with flying colors. CBD is not addictive. And the incredible piece is that it's powerful enough to help serious conditions and disorders like chronic pain and arthritis and anxiety and PTSD and things of that nature, but it's also safe enough to not be habit forming, not be addictive. So it makes an incredible medicine used from a holistic standpoint, plant medicine. So yeah, I mean, it seems like a win-win when you're looking at it from the standpoint of a doctor that it's extremely helpful, and the research shows so many conditions, so many things that it's beneficial for, yet it's not habit forming and it's not addictive.
Yeah, there's to be able to have the effect that it has on so many people, in so many conditions, and without the side effects,
Yes,
is it's just amazing. It's just
it's
such a
amazing.
gift. It is really great. Can you think of? I mean, because you're a naturopath.
Hmm.
What other plant comes close to it?
Nothing. I mean, we have. I've studied, years of botanicals in med school. We had
Hmm.
a whole formulation class, and we worked with a whole bunch of botanicals. And there's some incredible medicinal benefits of a lot of plants.
Hmm.
But when you look at every condition that CBD is good for, from eczema to acne to anxiety to pain to, I mean, the list is so long for what it can be helpful for. It's an anti-inflammatory oil. They're using it for PCS, post-concussion syndrome.
Oh,
They're
concussions. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
motor vehicle accidents where people are having head trauma, and using that in combination with omega 3 as healing oils for the brain. CBD is, I don't know another plant that has the same list of benefits of CBD. I can't tell you one, even though there's a ton of botanicals that I've studied and
Hmm.
they have great effects, but nothing as um, variable and powerful as CBD.
That's great. And we just got to get this next farm bill passed, so which I think it will, because I think there's enough support on both sides, um, especially because of the farmers, the way it'll help the farmers. But it is a farm bill, you know. So, none of us are, It's funny that a farm bill is going to help epilepsy. And a farm bill is going to help, OCD and anxiety and all these other conditions you talked about. It's a farm bill that's going to cause just such a swell of healing in the country. Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God. All right, so let's get down to it. Let's talk about products.
Mhm.
Because there's we're going to have a flood of things happening once that farm bill passes. Once the merchant accounts, unbind our wrists, from all the restrictions, and it makes it easier to sell. Facebook won't be taking down everyone's ads. Google won't be trying to squash pages, search engines and things like that. People will be able to use PayPal without having to worry about their merchant stuff getting taken down. I mean, for the people who aren't in the business, they don't know how hard it is to sell CBD. And something that helps so many people, something like that, we talked about. You can't get high from it. It's not addictive. It's a healthy plant that has amazing benefits for your body. But holy cow, is it hard to, yeah.
It's an uphill battle that I'm currently experiencing, launching and helping part of that process. The CBD company. It's
Yeah, it's ridiculous. All right. So once all this clears, there's going to be a lot of people in the business, and that's good. We need products. We need um, access, and we need education though to go with it. And so, how about we talk about products and what to look for and what's important when it comes to choosing your products.
so the myth is that all CBD products are the same, and of course that's not true. So there are a lot of manufacturers, and there will be more. They say maybe like 100 a day are launching products, but it's really important to look at the CBD manufacturer that you of the product that you choose, how they grow it, how they market, their standards for hemp, if they're using a non-toxic extraction process of the CBD. And then testing is a big thing. So looking at a company that does third-party testing,
For
where someone
sure.
outside of their company is testing that product for quality assurance, checking the COA for the product as well. So um, things to look at when you are buying, when you're at a store, you're online, and you're like, what should I be looking for in a CBD product? Look at the label. First of all, it's probably the first thing you're going to see, and what's in the ingredients list. What's the suggested serving size? What's the milligram dosage? What's the total amount of milligrams in the bottle? It's important to look at the label to see if they are making um, any claims about CBD. It's a tricky space when you are creating website and content and labeling in terms of what you can say and not say
Hmm.
about the product. So looking at that, listing the amount of CBD in the product, and then also looking at like if there's a batch number, so to see if they can track that in the manufacturing, just to see how many hands they have in their overarching manufacturing process. Are they tracking everything, all of the plants? Are they tracking and testing everything? So really looking for a company that is forward thinking and wants to put the highest quality product on the market,
Yeah.
from start to finish. So um, also cannabis is a really good bioaccumulator, which means that it will store pesticides or other harmful chemicals. And then when we consume that isolated, extracted, um,
Magnified.
magnified, then we are getting all of those biocontaminants from the plants. So we definitely want to make sure that the hemp is not grown with or extracted with toxic chemicals.
Right. And it is, that's what's so great about it for farming is, it really cleans up the soil. And that's wonderful if you're going to use that for something other than is being ingested or using on a human body. There's a lot of great things that you can do with hemp. There's hempcrete and the fibers and the plastics and hemp insulation. If you've been to any conventions, you've seen so many ways to use hemp that has nothing to do with using it on your body, um, or in your body. And so for that, growing hemp in those areas for other purposes is great. But when you're and that's really why it's important to know the growing practices, is because is that farmer growing it thinking, oh, I'm just growing hemp, I can sell it to anyone I want. It's like, no,
Yeah.
you need to have a specific way to grow it. So,
The other
mhm,
the other challenge with that is having consistent amounts of CBD in each product in each batch. So because when you're looking at taking it at a therapeutic dose, you can't have variable amounts from bottle to bottle or batch.
mhm,
So the standardization of that's really important so that each company, or if you're evaluating a company, to make sure that they know that they have a consistent amount for each batch and each product that they're making. Um, because companies that aren't really kind of um, surveying that whole process, they may not have accurate dosing when you're trying to take it, or you really want to vet your company.
yeah. And on top of that, if you're taking a full spectrum product, you might have a certain amount of CBG in there that's helping you as much as the CBD is. And if they're just buying oil from wherever they're buying oil from and putting it in a product, this batch could have a completely different cannabinoid profile than the next batch. And so you've got to have that consistency in your product, because truly we don't know what each of the cannabinoids are doing yet. And so having CBN in there could be helping you as much as the CBG or the CBD.
Yeah,
So
I've
that
been learning about CBN and CBG too, alongside CBD. It's so much more research to be done on all of the, yeah,
it's so exciting.
super exciting.
Yeah, I really just can't wait 20 years from now to go back and like look at at these episodes. Like, oh my God, Dr. Amber, can you believe that we didn't even know that this cannabinoid even existed? And it's the cure for freaking diabetes? Holy crap!
It's inevitable, right? Like
Yeah,
yep, the process of discovery is inevitable. But yeah, I can imagine looking back.
it's gonna be
Um,
fun.
agree.
That's gonna be good. Okay, now and here's another thing that you had mentioned that you um should definitely touch on is what they're putting into their product other than CBD.
Yes. So there's a number of things that will be added. MCT oil is a popular one. Different types of oils. I know um, we have actually a product that's a topical, and they use a bunch of botanicals, and then a really powerful um, antioxidant, your body's most powerful antioxidant, glutathione. So that's a topical, but a lot of the tinctures are using other oils, mainly
Hmm.
MCT,
Well, to fill up the bottle.
to fill up the bottle. And so when you need to know how much MCT or what other components they're adding that may take away from the therapeutic effect of the CBD in the product as well.
And that's how I found out that I'm allergic to coconut.
Really? Oh
I
no.
I didn't know. And I was taking um so I was taking an oil, and it was nano encapsulated, the CBD.
Yeah.
And so it that was like that coconut was getting in there, and it was getting like it was pretty strong, and there was a lot of coconut in it, and I didn't realize it. And then all of a sudden my eyes looked like I'd been in a boxing match.
Oh,
I
oh
was like,
my.
what is happening?
Yeah.
I was like, I figured out. Yeah, so yeah, you can find out all sorts of things. So
Yeah.
um it's really important to know what's in there.
Yeah. That
Um,
they're cutting it, entirely with another oil. Of course,
yeah,
sometimes, yeah, generally there's some sort of carrier, but yeah,
yeah, because that's the thing is like MCT oil. Well, there's a lot of different MCT oils out there,
there is just the quality of MCT alone. Yeah,
and so that could be a scary thing.
yeah,
Tell me something that you learned at the conference in Hawaii that excited you.
yeah. So, well, we talked a little bit about the receptors, so the CB1 and the CB2, and I actually, the way that I remember that, because most people, aren't going to remember kind of receptors in scientific terms. So the CB1 is mostly in the brain, and we have one brain, and then the
Oh,
CB2, one brain, and then the CB2 is more immune system actions, even though they're both found all throughout the body, but more immune. And we have two tonsils, which are like immune, kind of lymph glands. So um, I think two tonsils, one brain. That's how I remember CB1 and CB2.
nice. That's a
Yeah, so
good
that's like
one.
kind of my memory trick. But then just like the competitive binding of THC and CBD, and so when you're consuming a product that has high CBD, it's competing for the receptors. Um, we just talked. I mean, we talked very in depth about anandamide and all of these kind of more complex molecules and the binding and the interactions. And kind of the biggest takeaway from that is that we still we know some of the mechanisms of why, like the mechanism of action for why does CBD help with anxiety and certain things, but there is so many receptor interactions, the process of what happens inside of the cell when the CBD binds to the cell. I mean, there is like an enormous amount that we just don't even know yet. Like we're making stabs and guesses based on the science that we already have about intracellular signaling and camp setting off, intracellular reactions to
Hmm.
impact what molecules are created and what neurotransmitters are made and things of that
And
nature.
see,
But
that's the thing that I love is the intracellular stuff because it's they talk about how it's the messenger
yep,
and uh, it's just but what I'm really grateful for also is that people are taking what they know and they're applying it. They're not waiting for the next 10 years to start helping people because
yeah,
it's safe. It's
yeah,
safe enough. This isn't, you know, oxycodone or whatever. It's not something that or like that the stuff that like you take a drop and it can kill you type of deal. You know,
sure,
it's safe things, and that's why we can go ahead and start helping people with it as we're learning.
certainly. And it's way more innocuous. It's way less likely to cause any issues than other things that I could give my patients,
Hmm.
like HTP and certain supplements that are sold on stores nationwide for anybody to buy. I mean, you could cause harm with so many other things
Hmm.
that are on a shelf, and CBD is just not one of them.
Yeah, like, and I'm not going to mention a brand name, but so there's a cold over the counter natural zinc
Mm-hmm.
product
Yeah.
that you take right away when you start getting cold. And so I was taking that, and my boyfriend gave me the lozenges, and I had bought in the nasal spray, and he's like, "Oh no, no, there's a lawsuit that people have lost their sense of smell by
Oh,
taking this $16 billion lawsuit against this company that got paid out." And or was it 16 million? 16 million probably. And then there's another class action lawsuit against this specific product. And he said, no, 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 you can't take the nose part. You have to take the lozenges because blah blah blah. I'm like, and that's just zinc.
yeah.
You know, wow, that's like scary. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of things that you can get over the counter that can do a much more that's much more scarier than CBD.
Yeah, there is a principle. So there's several principles of naturopathic medicine. One of them is first do no harm, and then the
And
other
we
one is
appreciate that. Thank you.
yeah, first do no harm. Just don't harm, with whatever you're utilizing to treat. And CBD, fits into that principle because we just know that there's no harmful effects from the studies that have been done. It's not addictive.
Yeah.
Very, very powerful medicine.
So let's talk about your project. So we've got this under her name, Culture for Good CBD. Now, the website is not live yet. So
It will be very soon.
very. When are you thinking?
For sure by the first of the year. I'm hoping in 2 weeks.
Okay, now they do have a Facebook page, and we're going to put all the links in the show notes so that you can find her Facebook page and her Instagram page. But for the people who are listening, go ahead and so it's facebook.com/culture for FOR hyphen good.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. And I make sure it's FOR, not the number 4. Because some people will use different things in their websites. Okay, so tell us about Culture for Good.
Yeah, so Culture for Good, we named it that because we do want to create a movement around CBD, and any company that thrives is one that brings people along on this story and this journey and this movement. And a big part of that has been our give back to veterans and providing this medicine to the people that have served our country and also end up with these debilitating, whether mental or physical ailments. And so having that give back has been really powerful. It's the Honor Foundation, and they have a beautiful location in San Diego, and we're committed to giving a portion of our proceeds of our company to that to the Honor Foundation. But so the products that we have topical and internal products. We have a topical pain cream that has glutathione in it, which is the body's most powerful antioxidant. You naturally make some of it, but it decreases with age. And so I love glutathione. I take a syringe of it every morning when I wake up to give my cells like an extra boost. So applying it onto the skin is even more like of a sweet spot for me to have it in our product. And then, so it's the pain cream has glutathione, as well as CBD, of course, and then a bunch of healing botanicals. And our manufacturer is like to the nines in terms of quality, tracking all the batches, consistency.
More of a pharmaceutical approach.
Yes.
Like assuming, and that's, a lot of times they give pharmaceuticals a bad name, and sometimes it's for a real good reason. But the processes that they go through, because I deal a lot with the FDA in my job, is it's great because you have to assume that someone is going to check up on you at any time.
Yeah.
And so your manufacturer is going, like you said, just going all out as if someone was going to be there, looking over their shoulder.
Yep. Walk in the door the next day and you have no idea. So, yeah, all of their products are like beyond organic. So they're organic, and then additional to that, they're toxic free. So everything in your product, the company threw out all their products back in the 1970s when they found out some of them had like carcinogenic or cancer causing chemicals in there, and they just restarted over, and they said we are committed to putting the best ingredients, the best botanicals that are toxic free, meaning they can't mutate, they can't have any negative effects. on the skin, and they're completely kind of building up the tissue. So that is like the trifecta. We have the pain cream that has botanicals, glutathione, CBD for pain, and then we have a couple other topicals. One is like a moisturizer, one is like a serum for the skin, for the
Oh,
face.
nice.
Yeah, and then we have actually a toothpaste, which is a little bit innovative.
Really?
Yeah, and it's like literally the best toothpaste that I've ever used. It's like infused with oxygen.
And you know what's so interesting is Ian Quinn 2 episodes ago, and he's with Fido Animal,
Okay.
and he was telling me that the one of the best methods for that he uses with himself and pets is a paste, and he rubs it into their gums. So that is really interesting because if you're using it as a toothpaste, it's getting into your gums, and that is a great way to absorb it into your body. How innovative! Oh my God! Now I have to go get some toothpaste.
Yeah, CBD toothpaste. And then we also have a product that's a tincture, and it's like the best flavor. So it's mango peach, and
Ooh.
it's like a tropical smoothie almost. So good. But it's a 900 milligram tincture in a 30 ml bottle.
Oh, that's nice. That's so. What is that like? 30 milligrams per milliliter? 930. Yeah, yeah, 30. That's great. That's a good strong dose.
Really high dose, yes.
Yeah, that
So
is
yeah,
really nice.
it's been really exciting to be a part of the formulation process, looking at the dosing and what are we putting in these products, and then just kind of launching everything. And a big part, a big piece of our company is the education piece, which you are also in this space and this beautiful empowerment of the whole community of your podcast, and reaching out to people who may not know about CBD and really generating awareness and providing exceptional information. So we're excited to be in this space and excited to put out products that we can recommend like with no doubt, because I would use it for myself as a doctor.
Exactly.
That was part of my piece, my buy-in to working alongside this company. So.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really important for you to. This isn't, it's not aspirin. It's not when you're working with a product that's not regulated. You really need to know who you're getting your products from. And if you can't talk with somebody at the company, then I don't think I'd buy from them
Exactly.
because it's just the product is not regulated. And I remember a couple years back when the FDA did random sampling. Do you remember that? And they put out a letter. They tested, I think, like 20 or 30 products, and then they put out a letter with the results of the tests,
Yep.
and it was scary. There were a few that were good, but more than half the amount of CBD in the product was nowhere near what they stated on the label. They had some of them didn't even have CBD in it, and it was just it's ridiculous. And so we are still operating in that same space right now, and so that's why it's important to really be able to communicate with the people that you're getting your product from, and um, and if you can't, then think about trying a different one. And also, you've got practitioners that that this is their life. This is what they do, and they're
Right.
dedicated to helping people with CBD. They're experts. Use them.
100%. That is the beautiful piece. The synergy that exists too is creating a high quality product that is CBD, and then being able to utilize that with the people that I work with, and you know, that's a powerhouse. And then you also have people who are coming to our company with chronic pain, anxiety, any number of conditions. They find the CBD and they're like, I'm gonna dig a little bit deeper. I want to get some labs run. I want to figure out why I'm really experiencing this pain or anxiety, and then I'm able to, step in and assist in that process. So it really is this beautiful synergy too.
Yeah, it is just the most unique industry out there. We are fortunate to live in this time, and I just every month you learn something new. There's a new study that comes out, and now that the shackles are coming off, more and more studies are coming out. I love what's happening in the animal industry as well. The the studies within neuroprotectant properties excite me because I have a mother with early stages of Alzheimer's, and
Mm-hmm.
so that for me is just very exciting. Um, and I also had my son played lacrosse and got beamed in the head plenty of times. So,
Yeah, probably a couple of concussions. Who knows?
oh, he had a couple concussions.
A
Yeah,
handful, yeah.
yeah, and so that neuroprotective thing, hey, that's good.
It's more valuable than we even know. Yeah.
Yeah. So the future is looking bright when it comes to CBD. So, all right. So, parting thoughts. What do you want people to really know about CBD?
CBD is a powerful asset to your health. It's something that I think, in order to find a great product, you need to do a little bit of research and educate yourself, which is why listening to podcasts or learning from sites where they're going to explain quality and what to look for in a product is really important. But I just want to encourage everybody listening to your podcast to, if they're not already taking CBD, to kind of dig a little bit deeper. And if they know of anybody who might benefit from CBD and might benefit from working with a practitioner and digging a little bit deeper, that is always an option to ask for help and direction and assistance with CBD and utilizing it. It's a very powerful, incredible plant and molecule, CBD, a molecule that uh, you know that can be harnessed for good. And so we want to be a culture for good in our company and kind of create a movement of healing and also education around CBD. So,
And it's safe.
and it's safe. It is
Yeah.
safe. I hope we hammered that in today. It's not.
I hope so. Well, thank you so much for spending time with us. I know we took a good hour of your time. So,
No, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure to chat with you and hear more about your experience and background. And it's, yeah, it's an honor. Thank you.
well, once you get the website up, you'll have to come back. Just shoot me an email so we can get you on again. And I'm
Yeah,
sure you'll have more, new information because new information is coming out all the time on this. So,
much covered. Yeah.
yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And we'll see you in the next episode. Remember, stay happy, stay healthy.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.